Detective Comics 940, written by James Tynion IV, art by Eddie Barrows, and this was the end of the first arc for Detective Comics, and oh boy, what an issue.
I hate comics that make me tear up. That's all.
Yeah.
And I don't hate the quality. I hate that they make me feel emotions for paper.
Now, to be fair with this, though, I think it was like the fastest I've ever gone from being like devastated to being like, oh, thank God.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in here. Obviously, the last issue ended with Tim being like, okay, I've reprogrammed all these drones to come and attack me, and that was a big cliffhanger we left off on. This week, the drones come for him. He seems to survive a round of them, but in the meantime, like Batman's trying to get to him. He's trying to, gather the troops. Everyone's trying to get there, and they're all talking to him on the comms, And Tim says to Batman, thank all the other guys for everything. Thank you, Bruce. Really heartfelt goodbye. Steph calls him. And he's like, I love you, Stephanie. And she's like, no, don't hang up. And we get that splash page, that glorious splash page of Tim just being obliterated by a horde of bullets. Which is,
It's rough.
But as much as I was getting a little like heartfelt and teary-eyed in the build-up to that with all the goodbyes, it was the scene with Stephanie and Batman afterwards that truly did it.
Me.
That broke it. Like Bane to Batman's back. That was it.
Because there's a couple of pages of reactions before that of you see Cass looking, you see Clayface looking kind of sad, and
the Cassandra Cain one. That was Eddie Barrows at his best, because that's a silent character, and he put her. Was it a quarter panel? So it was pretty big, but not huge, and you just felt the body language throughout that. Like, so well done.
Yeah, it was great. So the same with Steph and Batman though. So Batman goes to see Steph, and he's just sort of went to comfort her, and tell her that this is what Tim does, and Tim knew this life. He picked this life. And that's when Steph hits him with the acceptance letter to the college that Tim was going to go to. He was going to leave and go off and do this, and Batman drops the letter, and it's like you get that sense of he realizes that Tim is going to get out of this life, that Tim is going to go and do other things with his life, because even though he was good at this, the hell was that?
For a second, I thought that was Tim.
Jesus. So even though he was good at this life, he was destined to go and do other things. He could contribute to the world in a different way, and he was going to go do that. And Batman dropping the letter, and we get this awkward moment, but then we get the fantastic both of them turn round, and there's that great panel before the splash page where you actually see them hug, where their hands are just reaching for each other. And it's just a really, really sweet moment. There was a small tinge of worry after the Killing Joke movie that something else was about to happen, but otherwise we were fine. We were fine. Really emotional. And before we get to the end, and I don't want to talk about the ending yet, we'll save the last few pages for the end. Also, Batwoman beats the crap out of her father and arrests him.
Kay did not come out looking so well.
Yeah, she takes him into custody because he's like, oh yeah, the ship's about to teleport. If you want to get off, now's the time. He's like, yeah, not alone. And she just dives at him through the window.
Bingham.
No, really good. Really, really good. Really, really strong. There's almost not a lot to talk about in that first chunk because it's pretty straightforward, but just really emotional.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it was really the ticking clock of them trying to get to Tim.
Yeah.
And then Ulysses being like, well, there's no stopping it. He did this to himself. This is what he gets. Mm-hmm. And Batman's like, don't you ever say that. There's got to be a way.
Yeah, there's always a way. That's Batman's mantra. There's always a way.
Yep. So that was really, really well done. So.
Yeah. And as you said, the art did a really good job of getting the facial expressions and the body language down throughout.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
But I was until the reveal, Tim foreshadowed, that things aren't what they seem. Yep. I was like, how many Robins are we gonna go through? Because Grayson died for all intents and purposes, right? Mm-hmm. And then Tim, and Damian's died. And
Jason Todd,
the other one, he died, and it's the most famous. So I was just like, man, track record on Robins is not good.
No.
Yeah, but we're getting to a point where Batman's going to have to be held accountable for the amount of kids he's got killed.
I just remember when I used to read Wizard, they would do made up covers, and it was Batman in the Batcave with all these different Robin suits in memorial. talking to a new kid, and it was like, I want you to be the Robin. Just
Oh,
like, and that was
actually,
like 15, 16 years ago.
you forgot Stephanie Brown.
Yeah, but is that still continuity in this? Because it seems like she's just been spoiler.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
I don't think she's been Batgirl.
Who cares?
It still technically happened at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just saying in canon. I don't think.
I don't care what they say. She was Batgirl. I don't care what they say. That happened.
Of course, but like I see her more as Batgirl than as Robin in this. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But, yeah.
All right, so let's get to the juicy part. Let's get to the after the heartfelt, hug between Batman and Spoiler, we turn and Robin, or Tim, I should say Tim, I should specify. He's not even Robin, he's Red Robin now. But he's somewhere else. He's like, where am I? What's going on? And then we see the staff. We see the staff from Dr. Oz.
It's a shadow. Yeah.
Yeah, we can know exactly who it is. And this
Mr. Oz, not Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is a completely different a-hole.
Mr. Oz, sorry. But but Mr. Oz, like, right away I'm like, oh crap. Like, they are doing this. Because I had no idea they were going to turn this into a connection with the overall Rebirth storyline that we'd be seeing play out more in Action Comics with Mr. Oz. So right away I'm like, oh crap, he's already got Doomsday. Now he has Tim. And my next thought is, who else does he have? Like,
or who's next?
Or who's next?
Yeah. Who's next? Because we also know Ray Palmer's missing, right?
All right.
We got that in Rebirth.
Yeah, the Atom could be here.
And the whole thing was, it looked like he shrank him down, not teleported him. So the way that he reappears and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty interesting tidbit.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's how I took it. I could be completely wrong.
I could see it as that.
Yeah. So, because he has to sell the point that Tim was dead. Because he even kind of says that. Like, no, that was part one in unraveling this. And,
well, because he says that as far as everyone else is concerned, you're dead. Right? You're here, they don't know you're here, they think you're dead. And I guess because there's so many bullets, they can buy the fact that there's no body, because it'd be mush, it'd be a paste on the floor. So I guess how that works. But the real interesting points here, though, is why Mr. Oz has brought him here. Because Mr. Oz says that you were starting to reconnect threads that you shouldn't be reconnecting, and he says something about him being like, this important thing in everyone's lives, and all I'm thinking is, alright, so by being with Stephanie and like rekindling all that stuff, was that going to lead to memories? Was like stuff going to start to come back from the previous timeline that they're not supposed to remember? Although the thing that adds into this though is, does Mr. Oz not want them to remember? Because it seemed like when he spoke to Superman before, it felt like he was against Manhattan.
Here's something I think you've just slightly missed here. When you said reconnecting threads that shouldn't be reconnected, he doesn't say should. He said that could not be reconnected.
Yeah.
Implying that
Tim's an outlier.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't miss it. I just...
No, but you said... I think there's a difference between should and could, because should is something that he doesn't want him to do, but could not do is something that physically couldn't happen.
No, I just didn't remember how it was phrased exactly. I was paraphrasing.
So... let's just look at this in the grand scheme of now it's a connected universe where in the New 52 everything felt so compartmentalized. Like, yeah, there were tie-ins, but everything fit in its box, and like Batman continued on kind of by itself and always kind of seemed disconnected. So when this started, it felt normal to me that Batman's by itself, while in action we're getting a lot of these hints with Superman, and even in Flash and Titans we're getting these hints. So to tie in Batman, it really shows them going, no, this is a bigger, like, I don't want to say conspiracy, but like a bigger plan than just those heroes. It's going to tie everybody in.
Yeah, and it's worth noting as well, as Tim like screams at him, I was trained by the world's greatest detective, they're going to come for me. That idea that Batman will figure this out. And we know that Batman, he doesn't know that he has Tim, but we know Batman's on the case, the whole...
Because the comedian button.
Yeah, the button and the working with Flash to try and solve this stuff out. So we know he's on that trail. He doesn't know it's leading to Tim, but he'll get there.
That's going to be one hell of a moment.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Well-
I'm expecting an event in the summer next year.
That's a
Somewhat, yeah.
one-
Go ahead, Tim.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's the one thing I was kind of wondering is like, I really like this kind of intrigue of all the Watchmen stuff and, Mr. Oz, which is it, he's supposed to be Ozymandias from
We're just
Watchmen,
guessing. We don't know.
It's kind of
Okay.
what the
Yeah.
assumption is.
We are
but-
speculating that he is, but we don't know for sure.
Okay,
Which, when you look at Watchmen, Ozymandias is kind of the unspoken hero,
Yeah.
right? And Manhattan is kind of the villain because he's this all-powerful god being that just kind of does what he pleases.
Yeah.
So that all fits. If it's not that, it's a hell of a redirect, and I give them credit for
Yeah.
the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, so I'm really liking this stuff, and I feel it's very intriguing. I'm just wondering how long it's going to be drawn out. I feel if it is like an event next summer, I feel like that's a pretty good time frame. But I hope it's not something that's like, we just get strung along, and it's like 2-3 years from now or something, you finally get some type of answer. But
the whole thing will likely be 2 years because they said when they planned all this, they had a 2-year plan. So
Okay.
I would likely
Yeah.
expect that there'll be, some stuff that isn't complete until 2 years, and then it'll lead into whatever they're going to do next. But no. So anything else anyone wants to throw in about Detective before we move on?
I have
Yeah.
literally a single complaint with the entire book, and I loved it. I have one complaint that's not even in the pages. It's the cover. So they took Tim off the cover after it was originally solicited, and now it's just completely off balance and it looks wrong.
Oh.
I just don't like it because now I look at it and it just looks off.
Okay.
Yeah, but when that's my complaint, it's a pretty good issue.
So this and last week's Superman?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are so far in the short rebirth period 2 of the best books that have come out all year. So, keep on it.
Yeah.
If I can get one of these every other week, please.
Yeah, they're doing great right now. These 2 books have been phenomenal. So no, that was a fantastic issue.
Yeah. This was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to catch up on Rebirth, because I just I read a few stuff when it first got announced, but just kind of due to money constraints and stuff, I'm not able to read as much stuff weekly as usual. But I've been hearing so much good things, not just from you guys, but from other podcasts and stuff about Detective, and everything about it sounds really right up my alley. I love Tim. I love that kind of connected Bat family from kind of 90s, early 2000s DC, and it has that really cool nostalgic vibe for that era. And this is, without a doubt, the standout book of all of Rebirth for me. It's so good. And this issue was kind of like the ultimate of all the ones so far.
Well, I think a
outstanding.
big thing with Detective for people who are long-time fans of a lot of these characters is it's finally making a lot of characters who were just basically forgotten during New 52 feel important again. Tim here feels really important. Stephanie's having scenes with Batman, which never happened before. During, but did it ever happen in New 52? Maybe in Eternal, but I never read Eternal.
Well,
so
yeah, because that's where they introduced her, because everyone threw such a fit that they erased her.
She wasn't even she didn't have much interaction with Batman in Eternal. She was more kind of this off onto the side. Yeah. If they interacted, it was pretty minimal.